There we go. Amy alive. Again, not that I can hear you. Part 37. Commence. Right. Let's talk to Alfie now. I am, yep. For the greater good. The greater good. Excellent. You came straight to us from the archives of Household Temps. I trust your time there was proved fruitful. Would that it had around you and I scoured countless texts, but what we found was of questionable veracity. Accounts of Shiva's life and deeds are sparse and contradictory, only agreeing upon one point. She lay down with a dragon, the gravest of all sins according to the Ishgardian faith. Yet in the eyes of Iceheart's followers, this was a holy act, the blessed union of man and dragon. How such a thing could even be possible is quite another question. Suffice it to say, I very much doubt that we will find a useful answer in the archives of Household Temps. Much knowledge that has been lost over the centuries, though in this case one wonders if it would be by circumstance or design. I'd say by design. I mean, you said that Iceheart took a moment to plead her case prior to escaping, did you not? Yes, she did. You mentioned Hyden. Viewed without prejudice, most would agree that bringing an end to an endless war serves the greater good. The greater good. Thinks that Emmerich might take issue with her methods. I do not care if a few stragglers manage to escape until the sappers confirm that the tunnel is safe. The men are not to search it. Yes, Lord Commander. You pursue your foes with the celestial than I expected, Sir Almeric. At least you misunderstand. I do not deny that our enemy has given us good reason to be prudent. I merely meant you being a man of faith, that I had expected a certain single-mindedness. After all, was it not by the will of her alone that your ancestors came to this land? Why they took up arms against the Geranians? What would they have done in your position, I wonder? There are those who believe that the faith is a renunciation of the free will. That unquestionable devotion is required of all who would live in the life in service to the Fury. Such righteous fervour may well serve the knight on the front line, less so a leader of men. We are all at liberty to interpret the scriptures as we will. I choose to believe that the Fury would value the lives of her followers over the deaths of her enemies. But I would not presume to speak of the Knights of Eld. It was a different time, nay, a different era. The scriptures tell us only so much. Would it told us more? I like his sword. That man is awfully pragmatic for a servant of the Holy See. A welcome trait at the negotiating table, to be sure, less so when one's enemies is making ready to harness the power of a god. Mayhap he does not truly believe that Iceheart's plan can succeed. Truth be told, I too remain somewhat sceptical. Shiva was real, a living, breathing woman, of that there can be no doubt. In this respect she differs from every other figure that has been summoned, each of whom was worshipped as a god. The sole exception being good King Moogle the 12th, the myth made manifest yeah, him. The myth made manifest in response to fervent supplications of the Moogle's guard. Saint Shiva may differ, but what of the heretics? They are a tribe of outcasts at war with a mighty nation. Yep, heresy. Who yearn to resurrect one who embodies their beliefs. Is it not placing one's faith in a higher power, then what is? Crystals and convictions, Minfilia. They have them both in abundance. Can that truly all that is required? My survey teams concluded the preliminary analysis of the Aetherite Iceheart used to escape. They believed that she would teleported to another Aetherite somewhere far, far to the west. Despite the apparent proximity of this second Aetherite, however, they only have been wholly able to detect its presence directly. Unless Iceheart has some means to mask its signature, I can only presume that she had it destroyed to prevent us from following her. Without the means to teleport as she did, we have no choice but to search for an alternative route, most likely a tunnel, assuming one exists. Let us not give up on teleportation just yet. One of our colleagues in Ishgardians may be able to assist us. I pray that you are right. I dare not think how long it will take us to survey the entire tunnel system. Yeah, I know it's become a little mouthy git, ain't he? Yes. While Minfilia looks into our Aetherite problem, I would like you to request your assistance in another matter. The third unit is currently tracking the remnants of the heretic force which attacked us. However, the search goes poorly despite our numbers. Corpus is vast, and Iceheart followers know the terrain far better than we. Your knowledge of this region may serve to hasten the process. The sooner we capture Iceheart's followers, the sooner we can press them for their leaders' whereabouts. Also, though I am admittedly a selfish request, I feel that my braves would benefit immensely from working alongside you. While we have our share of veterans, we also have more than a few less experienced recruits, many of whom look up to you, in case you are not aware. Good. I knew you would understand. You has, can apprise you of the details. When the task is complete, come and find me at the observatorium. Captain Ilbert and I are meeting there to discuss the latest developments of his investigation. Temper Knights shall hold Snowcloak for in our absence. Let us leave them to their work. Ours is more pressing. If you say so. Yu Hayes. There you are, Mino. Commander Levy instructed me to wait for you. Your assistance is most welcome, believe me. Most of the third hail from Uldar, and for a man accustomed to feel the sand beneath his boots, the crunch of snow can be rather disconcerting. But in a matter of hand, nay, a moment ago, I'd have received word from the heretics we seek have been spotted making for Daffian. My braves are already in pursuit, and we should be grateful if you would join. I myself shall be taking part in the hunt. Never let it be said that I do not earn my coin. Yes, heresy! Crush the heretics! For the Empire! Val's balls, my ankle was on fire, caught my boot on a rock or something and twisted it as I fell. The others went ahead through Draffen's pass. Hurry and you might catch up. If you aren't sure, we'll go look for the tracks. This snow is fresh, so they should be hard to find. What about you? Go on without me, so I'm in a condition to run. Just follow the fresh tracks. How can anyone run in this blasted snow without knowing what's underneath? Easy. You fly. Tracks lead southeast. Very far, did he? Simon, what are you doing here? The heretics, I'm not sure. There was a great scaled beast and you has. I think he went eastward on his own. The heretics split up, so did we. Well, that's a stupid plan. How embarrassing. I was so intent on following the heretics' tracks that I almost failed to notice that they had doubled back. Almost, mind you. One tried to sneak up behind me and got knifed in the gut for his troubles. Thought myself alone, so I started searching the dead man's knapsack for anything of interest. And lo and behold, before his friends found me, I pulled this. Withdraw in groups of 3 or less to the observatorium. Give the signal and wait. The merchant will be waiting. Be late and be left for dead. Speaks for itself, does it not? It couldn't possibly mean to rendezvous inside the place. So we should restrict our search to the surrounding areas. Let me rephrase that. You should restrict your search to the wilderness around the observatorium. I'll need more than a moment's rest to recover from these wounds. Who the fuck are you ordering me around, potato boy? I'm mirroring the sign of the 7th Dawn. You're a crystal brave. You follow my fucking orders. You search. Or to quote the good, the bad and the ugly, there's 2 kinds of people in this world. Those with guns and those who dig. You dig. I am through with listening with your excuses. We leave now. How? The woods are calling with those blue coats and the knights are searching every wagon that passes through the gates. Bonjour, morons. Well, stay with her then, if you think you'll fare any better. Now, there's no need for that. There are places like this in my homelands, sacred snow-capped peaks where blood must not be shed. Yet your land's ever thirsts for the blood of the fallen, and by your deeds it has drunk deep. No, I have done no wrong. None but meet in secret with heretics. Deny all you will. We shall have the truth from you. Yet inquisitors are not the only ones skilled in the art of interrogation. Damn it all. I fancy meeting you here, Mino. I presume your work with the third brought you hither. What a tangled web. At least you wonder we came not for the heretics, but for the merchant who had been conspiring with them. He came to our attention during the course of our investigation into the Ivy, which beggars belief, I know, but it seems our favourite guardian spy may have been providing assistance to Iceheart. Were it not for the efforts of Lady Yugiri and her shinobi, we might not have ever discovered this connection. Whilst Avano is too kind, I fear my people and I have done little to aid your search for this spy. We long to strike back against the Empire and weaken their influence in this land to prevent the tragedy which befell Doma from reoccurring. Oh, ain't that nice of you, Yugiri? The days ahead and the work they promise will require a very particular set of skills which I'm fortunate enough to possess. If you will allow it, I will accompany you until the investigation is complete. That's most generous offer, Lady Yugiri, and one which I gladly accept. Thank you. I shall, though I may disappear for a time, you shall know that I shall never be far, and shall always be watching. A comfort in full. Come, Mino, let us wait inside for Captain Ilbert to return the delivery's report. When you say always watching, yeah, there's some points, I don't want you to be watching, Yugiri. Captain Ilbert seemed confident that the merchant's resolve would swiftly crumble when pressed. If so, we should have new information ere long. As to whether it will bring us any closer to learning the Ivy's identity, I would rather not say. Given our adversity's cunning, I shall consider us fortunate if we are to spread another wild dido chase. The gods know we have more than enough to occupy our time as it is. Captain Ilbert, your report, if you will. Aye, Commander. Firstly, with regard to the heretic we captured, I regret to say that the man could tell us not that we did not already know as Shiva. We have since handed him over to the Ishgardian authorities. Henceforth, the Holy See will pursue the matter independently. Our inquiries concerning the Ivy, however, have proven more fruitful. We have ascertained the channel by which the heretics acquired their information on shipment routes. Go on. You recall the flame we first identified as being the Ivy's employ. From him we were able to trace all tale of conspirators, which taking us closer to his master. Alas, the trail came to an abrupt end. Fearing that the investigation had been compromised, we took the necessary steps to retain all suspected of conspiracy. Conspiracy! There were 5 on our list, including flames stationed at Revenant's Toll. The man's primary duty was to keep an inventory of donations from abroad, the particulars of which he would share with his benefactors, thereby ensuring the needs did not go unfulfilled. By virtue of his role, he was privy to details of all shipments bound for the settlements. Needless to say, that included in those originating from household temps. He knew the precise route the caravan would take, and he sold that information to a merchant. I think I can guess which one. None other. With a little encouragement, he soon confessed to knowingly aiding and abetting the heretics. Heresy! Well, that's one mystery solved at least. But what of the Ivy? Are we any closer to pursuing off our present office mask? I dare say we are, Commander. Our relentless pursuit has forced him to commit a grave error. In the desperate bid to cover his tracks, the Ivy resorted to exercising certain administrative powers are only available to our high-ranking members of the Immortal Flames. If you consider that our investigation is known to barely a handful of them, the field of suspects is greatly narrowed. You mean to say the agent is among Rabaun's innermost circle? Someone who has been with him since the Immortal Flames establishment? It is the most plausible explanation. The infiltration likely occurred during the company's founding, with the groundwork for the act being laid beforehand. To slip into position of authority unremarked and remain above suspicion all these years. I too was surprised, though I really should not have been. One of the three grand companies, Uldar was one of the more vulnerable to infiltration. Both Limsa and the Mosa and Gridania have long-standing armed forces that lent themselves well to the formation of the Maelstrom and Order of the Twin Adder. To all intents and purposes, it was the same people, loyal ones, mined under the same leadership. Only the banner was different. Not so the Flames. Uldar's military was made up of desperate orders, most of which were glorified mercenary companies that answered only to their own paymasters. A country using mercenaries. Sounds like me on medieval Total War when I go to war and I don't have enough soldiers. You're sending the mercenary companies. I've got plenty of coin. Hardly an ideal environment for which to establish something of a as high-minded as a great company. The difficulties Rabaun faced when founding the Immortal Flames are well known. Even after he had convinced his fellow syndicate members to share the cost, there remained a small matter of finding enough bodies to fill the ranks. Indeed, given the pressing nature of the Imperial threat, that meant recruiting every passing sellsword. Amidst the chaos of its founding, it would have been child's play to infiltrate the company. I hope you're taking notes here, you Nimrod. I mean, you just founded a company, and pretty much everyone you've hired are your adventurers and sellswords. A good deal easier than they are now, The Immortal Flames have been caught between the conflicting interests of the public and the private. Though the monarchists ultimately agreed to support the organisations founded, it was not out of charity they did so, but a simple self-preservation. Had now Van Dalmas' ambition been less apocalyptic, you may be sure that they would never be risk supplying Rabaun with an army. It is but a wonder that they didn't attempt to extinguish the flames the moment the danger had passed. Returning to the present. Even as we speak, our dominant allies are shadowing several high-ranking flames, only one of whom could be the Ivy. Desiring to deal a blow against the Empire, the refugees were eager to lend us their aid, and I expect to hear from them ere long. Very good. Continue your investigation with the first. Meanwhile, to have the second attend to the unrest, the third can join with the fourth in inspecting crystal shipments. If there is anything unusual, I want to know about it. If Shiva is summoned in the many-like manner, in the other primals, heretics will be looking for further supplies. Understood, Commander. I shall send word to Sir Amric, informing him of our success in identifying the heretics' arbiters. Hopefully the information will be of some use to the Ishgardians. It is time, Commander. Yes, I am aware. An emergency council of the Alliance leadership has been called. There have been developments in Garlemald, it would seem. As commander of the Crystal Base, my presence has been requested. I would have you accompany me, Mino, as the realm's stoutest champion. It is the only meet that you be present for the discussions. Oh, and the Academic has already given her consent, least you worry. Why the fuck do I want to sit on a pissing council meeting? I don't want to sit on a council meeting. I've got other things to do. I've got chocobos to race. Bets to make in the gold saucer. Yeah, fish to catch, stuff to make. Why the hell do I give a crap about a boring bloody council meeting? Like me, you're doubtless the daily mini crackpot. Like me, you're doubtless eager to conclude our business with Iceheart, but until another path to her sanctum is found, she will remain beyond our reach. Nephilia and the Archons are sparing no effort to search for an alternative route. Till such time as they succeed, I suggest that we give some thought to the realm's other problems. I shall go ahead to Gardania to readiness for the coming council. Meet me at Nakothia's altar, and we shall make our way to the Lotus Stand together. Nakothia. Nakothia. Right, speak with Alphino in Old Gridania. My thanks for coming, mine. I've not had a bloody choice. When you are ready, speak with the conjurer yonder, and she will show us to the Lotus Stand. Listen, Silent Conjurer, you must be pissed off by now of constantly me asking you to let me in. You know who I am, just let me through. The Alliance leaders await you at the Lotus Stand. Will you be joining them now? Well, yes.
Change has come to the Garlean Empire, and we must discuss the implications.
The rumors are true, then? The War of Succession is ended?
It is. A new emperor reigns in Garlemald.
New emperor?
Who?
The birth and all too rapid expansion of the Garlean Empire is commonly attributed to the strategic brilliance of Solus Zosgalvis, yet he did not rule alone. Several members of the royal household also distinguished themselves during his reign. Nevertheless, it was the eldest son who stood to inherit the throne, until his most untimely passing.
I thought us fortunate when I learned that the Emperor had died without naming a successor. Would that the Garlean Empire had died with him.
He spit on his own father's coffin. How dare he?
'Twas the grandson and his uncle who had the strongest claims, was it not?
Indeed, yet claims count for little without the power to assert them. High Legatus Varus Ye Galvus is a respected military leader. Not so his uncle.
So young Varys has torn the crown from his uncle's grasp and taken his place at the head of the Empire.
Given the troubled nature of his succession, the new emperor will require time to seal his grip on power. Yet have no doubt but that he shall, for there are none left with strength enough to oppose him.
Since the success of Operation Archon, the remnants of the 14th Legion and the forces occupying Alamigo have done naught but fortify their positions. But you can be sure they'll be ready to march on us again, if their Emperor gives the word.
When, not if. They say this Varys was so set upon Eorzean annexation that he spoke out against the Meteor Project.
Plainly, the new emperor's intentions are of great concern to us all. I propose that we set aside the Cartano dispute for the present, and discuss what measures the Alliance might take to prepare for a resumption of hostilities with Garlemald. Moreover, I move that we re-examine the question of how our former allies in Ishgard might be persuaded to retake their place at our side. Could Eorzea but stand as one, 'twould deal a grave blow to our enemies' ambitions.
The silent nodding.
Well, I suppose we should be grateful that they have finally acknowledged the inevitability of Imperial attack. Who knows? They may even do something about it. If only the leaders of Ishgard would follow their example and stop hiding behind their gates, praying for the coming storm to pass them by. But that is a discussion for another time. At present, I am more concerned by the fact that the Alliance's mooted preparations will be made known to the Garleans many moons before their coming. So long as the ivy eludes our grasp, no secret is safe.
It will not have escaped your notice that the nations of Eorzea are no nearer to being as one on one purpose, despite their prestations to the country. Plainly, the threat of the resurgent Garlemald is not enough to stir them. And the reason for this? Deep-rooted mistrust among the citizenry. The nation's leaders can come and utter all the understanding they like, but their unity means little or less to the common folk. Take the Limoges, for instance. Though the Admiral Meweb outlawed piracy over a decade ago, foreigners still picture the nation as a haven for grog-swilling, wood-legged cutthroats. In the likewise, the Credanians are mocked as hermits who talk to trees, and the Udans scorn as swindlers who worship coin. Not such sentiments are entirely without grounds, of course. Take that the pillar of Ishgardian society to Largi, for example. But that is besides the point. The fact is that the people are wary of outsiders, whether they have cause to be or not. On that basis, we could figure out that the conflict in Cartano is a necessary evil. Each nation has its own warmongering faction that activates the acquisition of Omega in order to proliferate them. We present them with something resembling warfare, thereby curb their appetite for Fourth Tower conflict. But enough idle moseying, let us speak of more pressing matter, the Ivy. Since we spoke to the Observatorian Captain, Ilbert has further shortened his list of suspects, and by happy coincidence, the one he deems the most likely candidate is lately come to Gridania. The hunt nears an end, Mino. All that remains is to corner our quarry. Seek out Ilbert near the Adder's Nest. He'll give you the particulars. Should there be any developments in Corpus, you may be sure that I will send word about delay. In the meantime, I wish you success in apprehending the Ivy. In the glib? No. There was only one that I serve, and that is the mighty corn servant. Or Hal the corn servant, the bringer of corn. Many thanks for coming, Sire. Doubtless the commander has informed you, but we have unmasked the Ivy. From this point on, we must proceed with extreme caution. Chasing Ivy, Ilbert is convinced that he has discovered the Ivy's identity and is preparing to move against the Guardian's spy. Listen well. The spy we have been seeking all this time is none other than Flame Marshal Eileen Relau, Raban's second in command. No. Prior to joining the Immortal Flames, she was a mercenary of no small renown. They say her skill with a polearm it had to be seen to be believed. Of his guardian birth, she is the highest ranked foreigner in the Immortal Flames, barring the Flame General himself, of course. When he formed the Grand Company, Raban chose people based on their worth. Whence they hailed was of no interest. Norwich saw things differently, however. Having founded the enterprise, they reserved the right to reject candidates nominated for high-ranking positions. And his was no secret that did not favour foreigners, Ishgardians especially, after the way the Holy See forsook the alliance. Yet the monarchs did not raise as much as a murmur of protest when Renal was appointed to a post. Passing strangers, could it be that the Ivy had some hold over the monarchist? But these revelations are secondary to our current mission. Of foremost interest into us is Renal's presence here now. You may be aware that it is the duty of the Flame Marshal to command the Immortal Flames in the absence of the Flame General. While Raban attended the Council of the Alliance leaders, she should have remained in the Hall of Flames. The woman has no business being in Gridania, yet she is here nonetheless, on some pretense. She is up to something, mark my words. Even as we speak, I have a dozen men trawling the family records for evidence for Nal's guilt. But if we catch her red-handed, we shall have all the proof we need. Which brings us to the plan. I have people watching the city gates, the airships landing in the docks, every point of egress. She cannot leave without our knowledge. All that remains is to shadow her until she betrays her true purpose. Can I rely upon your eyes, son? Sure. Yeah, my thanks. Let us go then and take care not to alert our quarry. Well, he's heading in the direction of the Blue Badger Gate. Meet with me, sire. Blue Badger Gate. The main gate. So we're now entered the Carline canopy, meeting someone perchance, or should it be that she means to board an airship? Pray look for her within. If she's not in the upper floor, try the landing area below. One of mine is stationed there. She may have seen something. Epentine is her name. I shall remain here in case Renal reappears. Yay! No, can't jump down. Too high. Too high? Bullshit. Mino, okay, such an unexpected pleasure. What brings you here? A social visit, you say? How pleasant. No, she didn't come this way. I've noticed every passenger and none bore any resemblance. Well, don't let me keep you. What's that? Oh, right. Cool. Nowhere to be seen, you say? Are you sure she did not board an airship? She did not come back out either. Where in the seven hells could she have gone? The roost. How could I forget? Greetings, good sir. Might interest you in some my Moontide tonic. Cup a day imbues the man with great vigour. If you have my meaning here. Perhaps another time, friend. Wait, that necklace. You're a shinobi of Doma. The woman you seek is Decordania by way of the West Shore Pier. She has attire as a merchant. With these eyes, but these eyes are not so easily deceived. You may wish to take your search to the shroud. Rest assured that we shall continue to support you from the shadows. Make the 12 for the Domans. Were it not for their own unique talents, Renal would have disappeared without trace. Pursue. Pursue! In fragment delicto. Over is eager to resume the pursuit of Enel Renal. Our hunt leads us to the Shroud Sign. I suggest we follow Renal's example and take the ferry from the West Shore Pier. You'll doubtless wish to make certain preparations. See to them while I go ahead. I shall wait for you at Sweet Bloom Pier. I don't particularly want to go across the lake, but I'm not giving much but damn choice. This way, my friends. Your quarry makes for Hawthorne Hut. If Renal is truly the one we seek, we can expect that she means to make contact with her guardian masters there. An explanation is in order. You are no doubt aware that the Guardians have their own methods of communicating over great distances. Where our ingenious friends of at the Garlon Ironworks provided us with devices which disrupt these communications, we've installed them around the city-states. In doing so, we have made it difficult for Imperial agents to correspond with their masters. Renal would thus have no choice but to rendezvous with her Imperial contact directly. Yet, as well-known face in the immortal flames, she cannot move around about Fanland without being recognised. It would only be a matter of time before someone saw through her disguise. It is for this reason that I believe she has chosen the Black Shroud for us clandestine meeting. The Elsian have a common sight here, and the coming and goings are not likely to turn any heads. As my scouts tell it, the Guardians have secret agents with minds to destroy the devices and render such direct contact unnecessary. Fortunately, our shinobi have thus far been successful in rebuffing their efforts. This is it. We only make for Hawthorne Hut and catch Renal in the act. Hawthorne Hut. My people report that our quarry has departed from the Bramble Patch. The Ivy returns to the North from when she came, but perhaps it is all for the better. To convict someone of her standing will require damning evidence against her. What could be better than to catch her in the act when she meets with her guardian masters? My countrymen and I shall lay in wait in the shadows. Tread wary, my friends. Yeah, there's a big angry boar in the Bramble Patch. Just beyond, Renal was in conversation with an individual clad in the manner of an adventurer. An imperial individual, no doubt. This is it, with me. Flame Marshal Eileen Renal, you're under arrest for treason and espionage. You were followed, you bloody fool. Detonation. You are unarmed, my lady, and scarcely garbed for battle, but if you wish to fight, you are welcome to try. What is the meaning of this, Captain? Would you arrest me for strolling in the Twoswood? When I last looked, there was no crime, and neither was the conversing with passing strangers. You would feign ignorance, then. Very well. If you do not think of something to say, then there will be plenty of time to say it later. Now come quietly, I shall make you wish you had. I will offer you no struggle. After all, I have naught to hide. Even a warrior renowned could not have hoped to escape by force. Spy had claims the surrender does not bespeak innocence, but an awareness of her position is untenable. We are thus uprooted. It is only hope that the tendrils she entwined around the immortal flames will gradually wither and die. Mayhap then the people of Udar will have a grand company they deserve. But let us speak at the present, if you may ask. What will you do now, Mino? Oh, I'm probably going to have to go and kill a giant bloody Shiva thingy-majiggy. So I'd seek a way into Iceheart's sanctum. Now I dare say you're eager to return to the Rising Stones. Pray do not let me keep you then. Fear not, my countrymen and I shall attend to the aftermath. You need not waste your talents here. And speaking of talents, have you considered training in the art shinobi? You have an aptitude for it, I believe, so please give it some thought. Till next time we meet, till next time, my friend. Ah, yes, I need to do this. Go become a ninja! Pray return to the Rising Stones. It's the same bloody thing as the pray return to the Waking Sands. The toes juggling. Interesting. Welcome back, man. I understand that Alphino had a task for you. May I ask what it was? Catching the ivy. Charges of treason and espionage against Eileen Renal. I can scarce believe it. Could there not have been some manner of misunderstanding? No, it avails us not to dwell on it. Whatever the truth may be, we must trust the authorities to uncover it. Let us speak of another matter. I'm pleased to report that we have made progress in our efforts to find a way into Iceheart's sanctum. Yay! Bless you. A simple plan. Ophelia has not been one to hesitate when it comes to asking others for aid. No, she fucking hasn't. As you may recall, Iceheart used the Aetherite in the depths of Snowcloak to teleport to a short distance to the west, most likely to the sanctuary of some description. It is there that we suspect that she means to summon Shiva using the crystal she stole from the Houseful Temp's caravan. The heretics believe that they have been bringing about the second coming of their patron saint, but if we are to suspect they mean to hold a summoning ritual of the kind employed by beast tribes, it seems likely that the result will be something more akin to a primal. Suffice to say, they must be stopped, and stopped them we shall. But first we must surmount an obstacle that Iceheart has placed in our path. Ordinarily it would be a simple matter to tap into the established Ethernet and thereby follow our quarry. However, despite our best efforts, we have been unable to ascertain the position of the Aetherite to which she teleported. Then we managed to do that with Titan. We didn't know where the hell he was. Just told her to do it. Our prevailing theory is that she destroyed the second Aetherite upon arrival. A reckless, desperate measure, but also an effective one. After discussing the matter of length with Urianjay, and not Yustola, we have concluded that with our lack of expertise in the development of a solution, which is why we have called upon the aid of one who does possess such expertise, a colleague of ours who is currently en route to Evidence told from Charlian. She'll be arriving within an hour, in fact. Since you are here, mayhap you would welcome her together. I'm certain she would appreciate the gesture. Let us make our way to the northern gates and await her coming. Okie dokie. The tire is still juggling. Big fat tacos. You find big fat tacos? I thought you were fighting big fat tacos. Big fat tacos and big fat tacos and tacos are big.
Minfilia, am I right?
None other. I bid you welcome to Revenant's Toll, and thank you for traveling so far on such short notice.
As if I could ever say no to Urianjay.
Moonbreeder is an accomplished Charlian scholar, and an authority on Aetherite technologies. She has played an invaluable role in our search for a means to capture Ascian souls.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Let us return to the writing stones at once, then. We have much to discuss.
It's been ages!
Oh, longer, sister.
A joyous reunion indeed.
Well, of course it is. Moon and I are like twin sisters.
Save in appearance and aptitude.
Everyone, if I could have your attention. We have with us an esteemed guest who has come from Sharlayan to assist us. I bid Moonbreeder join us here that she might share with us her extensive knowledge of Aetherites. Also, as many of you are already aware, she has been overseeing our research into white auracite, a sample of which she has been good enough to bring with her.
Well, I had to come, didn't I? You'd have to be bloody daft to turn your nose up at a chance like this. Where better to conduct my final tests than a land so steeped in ether you can taste it?
'Tis plain the passage of the years hath done little to dampen thy youthful spirits. And nothing at all to reform thy youthful manner.
Oriange, where in the hells have you been hiding?
Unhand me.
I come all this way, and that's what you have to say to me. I much preferred when you were pleading with me to drop everything and hurry to your side. What was it you said? None save thee can satisfy this need.
Go on. Thine artless attempts to misrepresent mine all too innocent motives do thee little credit. Mine intent, as well thou knowest, was but to impress upon thee the gravity of the circumstance. Lest thou doubt, a deiform entity shall shortly be summoned, save if thou and no other grantest my compeers thine aid.
You still haven't found it, then? Your missing Aetherite?
We have not. No. We know that Iceheart teleported to an Aetherite not far from the first. Yet even after careful analysis, we could not locate the second beacon. We now suspect that the heretics destroyed the second Aetherite to impede our pursuit. Our allies continue to scour Snowcloak for Iceheart's sanctuary, but we have no guarantee that they will find it. Yet it must be found, for even now Iceheart prepares to call upon Saint Shiva.
I'm sorry, but if the Aetherite's been destroyed, then that's that. Although, You're absolutely sure she used the first aetherite, are you? She didn't just use teleportation magics?
One of our own bore witness to her escape. I can say with absolute certainty that Iceheart used the aetherite.
In that case, there might be a way, so long as the ethereal current is still flowing.
Truly? How?
We use the current to recreate the beacon. As you know, aetherites are a bit like lighthouses. We use them to reconstitute our physical forms when crossing the ethereal sea. Without them, we'd lose all sense of direction and our essence would dissipate. However, we don't rely solely on these beacons. There are currents of ether which flow between them, currents which help guide us to our destination. Now, these currents will gradually dwindle away to nothing if an aetherite is destroyed. But if even a sluggish flow remains, we could theoretically use it to direct a surge of concentrated ether towards the void left by the beacon, and thereby fill it up again.
Like opening the floodgates to fill a dry riverbed. Though, correct me if I'm wrong, but would we not need a veritable reservoir of ether?
In concert, we might manage to channel a sufficient volume, yet that is not my chief concern. To direct the flow of so great a volume of ether with the requisite precision would be a nigh impossible task in itself.
I barely succeeded in facilitating travel to an unattuned beacon. That which you describe sounds considerably more difficult.
And dangerous. Every person who has attempted to teleport in this fashion has died in the process. They, however, did not have white aura sight at their disposal. I can use it to channel all the ether you can give me into the aetherite. However, white aura sight cannot retain ether for an extended period of time, so we would need to infuse it immediately beforehand. Just so you know, I'd confidently give this plan better than even odds of success. And if the worst comes to worst, your people won't suffer.
Though it risked the lives of our best and brightest, we have not the time to seek other options. If the ethereal current still flows, we shall carry out Moonbreeder's plan.
Do I get a say in this?
That's the spirit. Let's roll the dice.
Like travelling through the ether, and she says, "Oh, by the way, if you don't materialise, you die. So hey, at least you won't suffer." What the fuck does she know? Instruments of our deliverance. I already informed Alphana of our plan to recreate the beacon in the manner Moonbreeder described. He agreed that despite the inherent danger, it represents our only hopes of success. We have to defeat Alpha Main at some point, I suppose, when you finished with your water dragon cat thing. He also said that he wished to meet you at Snowcloak before proceeding. I expect you will find him waiting for you there when you arrive. I want you to know that I appreciate everything you've done on our behalf, Mino, and I have faith to return to us, as you always have. Well, I should bloody hope so. I should game over. I'll be listening to the prelude or forever. You died. You attempted to use an aetherite that didn't exist. You have been dissipated into the ether. Game over. The next bit, it gets better. I meet an angry dragon. So when are we going to return to Alpha Main then, Octopus? Okay, so we can then. Alpha now. Good to see you, Mino. And I've started to wonder if you were having second thoughts. I bloody am. Captain Ilbert sends his regards, by the way. He attends the interrogation of Elaine Renawa in Udar as we speak. But I shall not distract you from the matter of hand. We can discuss it Ivy upon your return. I trust that by which I mean to say, the others are waiting for us at the Ephraim after you, sire. Mine is Finry. There, it's ready. It worked, I think. Try tuning the right now. Feel for the current and try to locate the beacon. We have done all we can, Mino. For now, let us withdraw. When your final preparations are complete, you must seek out the beacon we have created. If by the grace of the 12 you survive safely, you must stop Iceheart before she summons Shiva. We cannot ignore the possibilities our actions have alerted Iceheart to our plans. Should that be the case, she may attempt to hasten the completion of the submarine ritual. If she succeeds, you have little choice but to face Shiva in battle. Knowing little of this saint, I cannot say if your own strength will suffice, and so I would encourage you to call upon your allies. Some may have the reservations about wagering their lives on the success of Inbreeder's experiments, but others will surely agree to the desperate times call for desperate measures. And before you assemble your party, pray speak with that knight. I believe he has a message for you from Sir Emmerich. Yay, Sir Emmerich. Madam, Sir Emmerich regrets that he could not be here in person and asks that I read you this letter. Ishgard faces an unprecedented threat. Yet in our hour of need, it is not her knights who stand poised to defend her. Mino Akea, the warrior of light, saviour of Eorzea, your deeds to this day shall not be forgotten. Where others would flee, you choose to remain. Where others would falter, you raise the challenge. Where others would use their gifts for selfish ends, you wield yours in service of a greater cause, a greater good. May Helene best you with good fortune and see you safely home. Hey, Shiva. Okay. Enter with other players. Let's see if we can get this thing to just pop with me as a summoner. my doubts. I have my doubts it'll pop. Fuck's sake. Oh, do we want to... No, we want to tank this. What do you reckon, Puff? Should we tank it? You can join if you want. I don't think it's going to make it go any quicker though. If you want to do, we have Shiva. How do you do it? How do you make it pop like that? Probably going to need you for the you know what fight next. The next. Hello, Lady Iceheart.
You should never have come here, warrior of light. I labor only to forge a lasting peace. A peace you would deny us out of ignorance and blind faith. No matter. If it is our fate to be at odds, then it is mine to strike you down. We whom gods and men have forsaken shall be the instruments of our own deliverance. Partake of my flesh. Fill this vessel with your light. Walk amongst your brothers and sisters once more. Oh, Saint Shiva, still the hatred within our hearts and bless us with eternal grace.
Impressive entrance. Defeated she is.
Fool. Blind, bloody fool. You, of all people, should understand the suffering war begets. That no sacrifice is too great if it brings an end to the violence. Mine is the righteous cause. You fight in a war you do not understand. A pawn of liars and schemers. And they are no less ignorant than you, following the creed of their fathers without question, never thinking to ask why. Trapped in a delusion of their own creation, and blind to the truth. Warrior of Light, redemption is not beyond us. We who walk before may lead those who walk after. Seek the Keeper of the Lake. See with eyes unclouded. Do not squander a mother's gift. Hear, feel, think.
And so the vessel withdraws, a predictable outcome. Nevertheless, La Habrea will be pleased. How unfortunate.
Bloody Ashians. Well, the 12 you're alive. I mean, of course you're alive. Why wouldn't you be? Iceheart did what? And you're certain about that, are you? Javanians are skilled with glamours after all. Look, if you say that's what you saw, I believe you. It's just that I never heard of a primal being summoned like that before. Are you sure you're not injured? Head trauma has been known to cause hallucinations, you see. No? Fair enough. I was only asking. A road less travelled. If you ask me, there's naught that can be gained from mulling over the implications of your story in the freezing cold. Let's save it for the Rising Stones, huh? I'll get everyone together to meet us there. Oh, and before that, you may have best pay a visit to West White Brim Front and speak with Alphino. He's probably worried sick about you. That or he's busy playing with politics with the Ishgardians. Either way, I'm sure he'll be delighted to see you how and healthy. Speaking of which, you don't have a headache or anything, do you? No? Blurred vision? Oh, no reason. See you again. White Brim Front. There she is, and none worse for the wear. Was there ever a doubt that the warrior light would succeed? I think I speak for all of us when I say I shouldn't have liked nothing more than to hear the stirring tale of your victory, if you would be so kind. Well, you see, she turned into a thing from being a human, and she's not dead. Then we are too late to prevent the summoning. But not too late to prevent the further loss of life, an outcome worthy of celebration, and one for which we have Mino to thank. Yes, you are right, of course, Sir Amric. We should be content with what we have accomplished. I, for one, could not have wished for a better outcome. Shiva is no longer a threat, and the heretics have been routed. Aye, there is a matter of Iceheart's escape. She cannot run forever. Whether it takes days, weeks, moons, or even years, my knights will find her. In the meantime, Lord Drulamont, is the caravan ready? Supplies that your men recovered have been prepared for transport in accordance with your wishes. Rest assured that my knights will not see them safely to Revenant's Toll. Of that I have no doubts. I take it there are self-same supplies the heretics stole from houses for Temp's caravan? Less the crystals which comprise the bulk of the shipment, yes, scarcely a fraction of which was promised, but a meaningful contribution to your cause all the same. Oh, and an unrelated note, Mino. I have troubled you to accompany me to Camp Dragonhead at your earliest convenience. 'Tis not for my benefit. A certain lord was most distressed when he learned of your intent to risk life and limb to stop Iceheart. It took half a dozen knights to restrain him, I am told. Men give vent to their own anxieties in myriads of ways. Pray do not think less of him. Awesome fault. Awesome fault's a legend. What were you thinking, Mino? Wagering your very being on a dubious theory which might allow you to enter Iceheart's land, knowing full well that she could have had sufficient forewarning to complete her ritual to summon Shiva anyway, and then engaging in an abomination in mortal combat. By the fury, Mino, 'tis stuff of ballads, a battle of the ages. That I had been there to fight by your side. Yet here I was forced to wait, condemned to wonder the fate of a dear friend for a vulnerable eternity. I would not wish such torture on my most hated enemy. Sigh, but you are here now, and that is what truly matters. Let us move on. Sir Emmerich wished to have words with you and Master Alphino in private. He awaits for us in the intercessory. Greetings, madam. I shall show you in at once. Yay!
On behalf of the Holy See of Ishgard, allow me to express my deepest thanks. Never before have we been required to contend with a primal. Indeed, there were fears in some quarters that our knights might not be equal to the task. From what we have now learned of these beings, I can say with certainty that we would have lost a great many men had the Scions not intervened.
Then the argument for preemptive action should be self-evident. Perchance now you will reconsider my proposal that Ishgard move against Nautalon.
Ere we first met, a similar proposal was tabled, but the Holy See decreed that we were to observe, and that military action should be taken only in self-defense. All things considered, it was not an unreasonable decision. Since the calamity, 2 vigils have fallen to the Horde, while Garuda has never shown any inclination to storm the gates of judgment. Which is why this unprecedented crisis and its resolution may prompt a change in policy. You who have faced these primals know well the threat they pose. Ishgard did not. Not until now. And there is naught like a brush with death to change a man's outlook.
At the very least, this should silence any lingering objections to our arrangement with Revenant's Toll. The Holy See may even feel moved to grant us its formal endorsement.
So far as it is possible, the Scions shall be compensated for their service.
We should be grateful for any aid you can provide.
As a gesture of good faith, I shall withdraw my previous request. Your people are doubtless needed elsewhere.
That will not be necessary. We, too, have a vested interest in watching Dravania's movements.
I see. Once more, I must thank you.
Sir Emmerich, if I may, do you truly believe that Midgard-Zoma could return?
The heavens are a window unto truth, but those who interpret their movements are not infallible. I requested your involvement as a precautionary measure.
But of course, you sought an excuse to compensate us from the first, mindful of what would happen if Revenant's Toll were taken by your enemies. Ishgard is not wont to aid its neighbors, but that does not preclude it from manipulating them to serve its own interests.
Choose your next words carefully.
Do you know what sort of man becomes Lord Commander of the Temple Knights? One who comes from good stock. I did not. Yet here I am now. Why do you suppose that is? Because I swiftly learned to tell the difference between words, deeds, and beliefs. You are correct, Master Leveilleur. Ishgard desires to see Revenant's Toll flourish, as it would present a troublesome obstacle to our enemies from the south.
We are so glad to be of use to you.
As we are to you. Ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement, lest we forget. One born of necessity. The dragons grow more restless by the day, and the heretics harry us nigh without cease. We have contended with such troubles for centuries, but there are limits to even our endurance. Yet as a pauper is loath to part with his meager possessions, the leaders of Ishgard are not wont to render up their trust to outsiders. But with perseverance on our part, they may yet be made to see the light. Nevertheless, one must take care when walking the road less traveled.
Wise words, Sir Emmerich. I shall make a point to remember them. I must apologize for my earlier outburst. I hope it will not sour our good relations.
Not at all. You but spoke from the heart. I trust you understand that at times my duties may prevent me from meeting with you. On such occasions, my second-in-command will speak for me.
Lucia, at your service. Pray excuse our reticence. We are but wary of speaking too freely, lest our sentiments be made known to our enemies. Know that the Lord Commander and I are of one mind. For the sake of Ishgard, and of Eorzea at large, I pray our peoples can put aside their differences. Those who dwell in the past risk losing sight of their future.
Should aught befall one of our shipments, pray inform Lucia immediately. You may also relay to her any words you might have for me alone. Not being of Ishgardian birth, she owes no allegiance to any noble house, making her as near to incorruptible as one can find in my homeland. Suffice it to say, I trust her completely, and so may you. Which reminds me, Lord Orchefort, if you would be so kind?
Certainly.
In times such as these, trust is ever in short supply. Mayhap this will go some way to rectify the problem. The results of our investigation into the heretics' recent attacks, as well as our interrogation of the merchant you detained.
Sir Emmerich, I cannot thank you enough.
Think nothing of it. Ishgard may be many things, but it is no friend to Garlemald.
Did I not tell you to have faith, my friend?
Welcome back. It would seem we have much to discuss with our friends at the Rising Stones. If what you say is true, Iceheart's method of summoning Shiva defies all precedent. It necessitates complete reappraisal of the primal threat and of an approach in combating it. Moreover, we have grave ramifications if the word of the incident reaches Imperial ears. Guardian Empire believes that the primals are an insufferable menace, that their mere existence is a threat to this very star. As such, they deem any action that taken against the beast tribes to be justified by default. Imagine then if they became known that not only the beast tribes of Eorzea can summon primals, but a civilized people as well. Any lingering objection to the Eorzean campaign would vanish overnight. Where before we had to contend with a single Imperial Legion, we could well find ourselves facing the combined might of all Garlemald. But I speak unadvisedly. Come, Mino. It's better we continue this conversation in Mordona. To Mordona!
Words cannot well express how glad I am to see you return to us hale and whole. Needless to say, I am most eager to hear your account of that which occurred in Kurthis, assuming you're ready to speak of it.
Sure.
Excellent. I shall summon the others at once.
She turned into the primal herself.
Iceheart used her own body as a vessel for a primal soul?
If you're talking about a giant half-naked ice lady, no. Every single Final Fantasy Shiva gets a little more, less and less ability to wear clothes.
Master Louis Soir's writings make no mention of such a possibility. Can we be certain this entity was a primal?
There's a lot of things you don't know about Master Louis Soir. Well, I am sworn to secrecy on that one.
As certain as we can be that good King Mogglmog XII was a primal, I should think. Both were ostensibly summoned.
Let's not quibble over definitions. Of more concern is the implication that Iceheart retained her will, even after she was possessed. We are talking about a mortal, wielding the power of a primal.
It can't possibly be that easy, can it? There must be some sort of sacrifice required. Or maybe she's just special?
What qualities this woman possesseth, I know not. But full sure am I that she was groomed for this role. Few are privy to the secrets of summoning, and but a single party standeth to profit from their dissemination.
Well, I wouldn't presume to comment on how the lass came to know about summoning, but I will say that what she summoned was a primal. The readings were the same, or near as damn it. Strange as it all sounds, it's really no different from what you've faced before.
Then mayhap it is time that we re-examined our previous encounters.
Pack your things, Ida. We're going back to Gridania.
Yes, sir.
About Iceheart's final words to you. Hear, feel, think. Hydaelyn speaks to her as well. If Iceheart is blessed with the power of the Echo, she will doubtless have used it to further her goals. Or could it be that it was a revelation granted her by the Echo which first set her on this path? She did say that the Ishgardians were blind to the truth. Do you think she has knowledge of the origins of the Ishgardian-Dravanian War? It would do much to explain her unwavering conviction.
Did not the Lady Iceheart implore thee to seek the Keeper of the Lake? And did she not imply that in so doing thou wouldst come to see with eyes unclouded?
Midgard-Zoma was a king amongst kings who reigned for centuries on end. But he is dead and his wisdom lost to the ages. Unless the Ishgardians' fears are well-founded.
Midgard-Zoma.
It would seem we have yet another reason to stand watch over the Keeper of the Lake. For a mercy, we are well positioned to do so. Iceheart, Shiva, Ascians, and Midgard-Zoma. I shudder to think how they're all connected.
Reason we're now. I mean to scour the annals. I mean to scour the annals of knowledge of Midgard-Zoma. You heading off, are you? Oh. I thought you were heading off. No. Okay. I mean to scour the annals of knowledge of Midgard-Zoma. Well, he's the great serpent that encompasses is it Midgard? And if he bites his tail, Ragnarok begins. Great. Is he a dragon or is he a snake, Midgard-Zoma? He's a giant serpent, isn't he? Given his great age, I dare say he appears in more than a few. Did you hear that? The commotion outside. Would you see aught is amiss? Yeah, he's going to bite. He bites he's trying to catch up with his tail. Yeah, if he catches his tail though, it's the end of it. Ragnarok begins. Mino, it is well that you're on hand. We have no problem. We know how to escape. It happened shortly after the Immortal Flames took her into custody. She had been placed in a dungeon cell ahead of her coming trial, but apparently the accommodation was not to her liking. The turnkey was found slain along with two guards. It is plain she received inside help. Citizens report seeing Renal quitting the city via the gate of Nald with a bloodied spear in her hand. She makes for the Castrian Meridian, and I'm certain of it. With her fate in the Eorzea as good as sealed, what recourses she had but to flee to her Imperial masters. Even as we speak, Captain Ilbert and the First are hot on Renal's heels. Pray make haste to Camp Blue Frog and join the hunt. The hunt is on. But my thanks for coming, Sire. I've spoken with the soldiers here. They say that Renal walked through the camp not long ago. Aye, she walked right through. He did not miss here. We have Rabound's decision to keep the matter secret to thank for that. Bad for morale, he said. As a result, not a single flame in the garrison made an attempt to detain her. And so, here we are. Renal must not be allowed to reach Castian Meridonium. Stupid fake Latin. Solo duty. This wrench was with Renal. He threw himself at us when his mistress might escape. She did not blink when she cut him down, not even when he started to scream. No loyalty even to our own goddamn harpy. With me, sire, we almost have her. Damn Deathclaw, fuck off. Chocobos I could deal with. Hey! Bind her and do it right. Yes, sir. Good work, man. She and her Imperial cronies pushed us close, but we were better. Behold, a respected officer in the Immortal Flames. People looked up to you as one of your Order's founding members, one of its pillars. It saddens me to see you fallen so low. What would you know of low? You were a spoiled little lordling who had never known what or known any want. People such as you take wealth and birth for granted. You think you're gods, given right to rule over others. You know naught of our plight, the injustice that we low-born Ishgardians must endure. To the noble lords and ladies, we're not people, but resources to be consumed. I did what I had to do to survive, stealing, killing, even whoring myself. It is no fault of mine you fools imagine me as a paragon when I joined the Flames. To hear you tell it, one would think that you're the only one person to have suffered. In any case, you have forgotten. Raban himself was born into poverty, as was I. We lived hand to mouth. We looked more than the shirts on our backs. Hunger was our constant companion. Yet never did we bemoan our lot in life, nor did we begrudge others for their fortunes. We accepted the hand that we had been dealt and played it with the best of our ability. Life was a battle, but no matter what fate threw us, we took it on the chin and came back for more. Everything we have, we fought for. How are we any different from then? 'Tis true that we were both mercenaries of lowly birth, and 'tis true that we've both had our fair share of struggles. But whereas I sold my sword to you, Marshal, you sold your comrades. If life has taught me one thing, is that you never betray your own. I would sooner cut off my own arm than raise a hand against a friend. About enough talk. We will return to order to face justice and the people whose trust you have dragged through the gutter. Not so much as a hint of remorse. 'Tis well that this sordid business is finally at an end. A friend's betrayal cuts deeper than steel. We must hope that we have chosen our allies more wisely than Raban chose his.
I have heard. Truly bothersome business. No, I do not foresee a problem on that front. The main concern is Roban. There is no telling what the brute might do. Have the Blades watch him in the flames day and night. You may leave the Sultana to me. I shall personally attend her grace.
Sever one of the East Aldenard trade routes. That ought to keep Lolorito occupied for a while. Nanamo Unamo. For my sake, pray be a good little sultana to the last.
Conspiracy. Let us cling together. Continue by and have a few questions for the Flames Marshals regarding the circumstances of a miraculous escape. When we have completed our interrogation, we shall take our findings directly to General Raban, and that shall be the end of it. Your work here is done, my friend. My thanks. But I have one last task for you. Return to the Rising Stones and apprise Minfilia of all what has happened. I am aware that the Academic held Ronald in high regard. For better or worse, she will still want to know how this tale ends. Okay, see you in the morning. God's sake. Human video.
Welcome back, my friend. I have already received word from Alfino. To think that Flame Marshal Huayu was the Garlean agent. I know not what to say. Together with Robon, Aline lent us much-needed aid at the time of our Order's founding. She was particularly passionate about the need to tackle the primal threat. When we discussed the subject, her eyes fairly shone with determination. Whatever else she may have been, I choose to believe that it was her true self with whom I spoke then. But now is not the time to dwell on such matters. I have an important announcement to make regarding our effort to defeat the Ascians. We shall begin as soon as everyone is assembled. My thanks for coming, friends. Moonbreeder, the floor is yours.
By now, I'm sure you're all familiar with White Auracite, the miraculous material that'll allow us to capture Ascian souls. Back at Snowcloak, we verified its ability to absorb vast amounts of ether. Alas, it leaves something to be desired in the area of stability. The stone can only store ether for a short while before expelling its contents.
In addition to Orosite's inherent limitations, we must needs be wary of our enemy's strength. Our foe draweth upon an infinite wellspring of power. Even should we succeed in entrapping him, the stone will not long contain his wrath.
Meaning that, if we want to kill the swine, we'll have to be quick about it.
'Tis our belief that an Ascian soul may be permanently undone, if smitten by a sufficiently concentrated burst of pure ether.
The only trouble is, we can't say for sure how concentrated the burst needs to be. Without knowing how much ether an Ascian soul is composed of, we're basically guessing.
Our sole clue lieth in thy struggle with La Hebrea.
During that encounter, Heidelin bid you forge what she called a Blade of Light, a weapon which took the form of a luminous stream of energy. Based on your description, we believe the blade with which you vanquished your foe was composed of ether. Admittedly, your victory proved ephemeral, as La Hebrea was able to use a crystal of darkness to flee into the space that lies between our world and the void. The fact remains, however, that Heidelin placed the means to destroy the Ascians in your hands. Be that as it may, it would be unwise to assume that you will do the same when we next encounter such a foe.
Quite so, my lady. We must needs find the means to forge our own blade of ether, one to equal that which Heidelin did benevolently bestow upon her champion.
That is all well and good, but it seems to me that producing such a blade will require a prodigious quantity of ether. Whence will it come, pray tell?
Oh, what if we had two pieces of white orosite? One to trap the Ascian, and the other to store the ether for the blade.
Oh, nice try. But it's as I said, the stone won't hold ether for any length of time. We'd still need to collect the stuff there and then, sorry to say.
And therein lies the rub. Finding a way to create the blade whenever and wherever we choose.
Twould seem more research is in order.
I'm going to linger a while, perform a few more tests on the Orosite. And I could do with some help. Urianger, why don't you lend me a hand?
Mine apologies, but I am required at the Waking Sands. Lady Minfilia hath given me sole charge of the premises. 'Twould be unseemly to leave them unattended.
Sole charge, you say? So you're basically alone there, then? Well, that settles it. I'll just have to come to you.
While you were afield, word arrived from the Sharlayan motherland. You will recall that a survey party was dispatched to investigate the incident of the Isle of Vow. What they discovered was troubling, to say the least. According to the report, the Isle has been erased from existence. 'Twas as if a hole had been torn in the very fabric of reality.
Aye, yet the mystery endeth not with the Isle's disappearance. It hath come to light that a number of scholars in various other locales were reported missing at a similar juncture.
What's more, they all had something in common with the head of the students of Baldessian. Every last one of them was researching a phenomenon called dimensional compression, or the rejoining as the ancient texts call it. I'll be damned if that's a coincidence.
All indications suggest Ascian involvement, but I sense that a force greater still is at work. The entity the Dark Beings call the one true God. We must pray that my dear friend Kryl regains consciousness soon. If she bore witness to the Isle of Val's final moments, she may be able to shed some light on this mystery.
Following the calamity, the forces of the 14th Imperial Legion entrenched themselves in strategic locations across Eorzea. So swiftly did they accomplish this, it was suspected that they had received help. To think that it came from Huayu, my right hand.
There is more. We have reason to believe that Huayu didn't deal exclusively with the 14th. She also answered to a higher authority in Garlemald. But this higher authority could not have been the Emperor. By consenting to the Media Project, Solus Zos Galvus showed himself to be more concerned about preventing the spread of primal influence than claiming Eorzea for the Empire. He would happily have seen the lot reduced to ash. We believe a number of high-ranking figures within the royal household were against the decision, but that they knew better than to oppose the Emperor openly. Of course, this didn't prevent them from making clandestine provisions, in which Huayu played a part.
Alas, these provisions did not prevent Dalamud from falling, and the ensuing chaos changed the face of the realm forever. Yet Eorzea survived. To all intents and purposes, the Meteor Project had failed, and the Empire was left to rue its lack of a decisive means to eliminate the primals. Until, that is, it stumbled upon the Ultima weapon.
Even before the accursed thing was dug up, it seemed to me the 14th had the might to overwhelm our weakened armies. Yet they chose to hide behind their walls. Why?
The Black Wolf was wary of making the denizens of Eorzea desperate, lest more primals emerge to bleed the land. The discovery of the Ultima weapon, however, emboldened him to resume his war of conquest in earnest.
But there was one in Garlemald who believed that Van Belsar's actions were premature. One who stood higher in the Imperial Army's chain of command. He ordered the Legatus to halt his advance, only to find that the Black Wolf had slipped its leash, and that the 14th now acted alone. In a bid to bring Van Belsar to heel, he used the agent he had planted in Ul'dah prior to the calamity to undermine the Legion's efforts.
A man who outranks Van Belsar, yet opposed the late Emperor's decision to annihilate Eorzea. This could only be the former High Legatus of the Garlean army, now known as Emperor Varus Zos Galvus. So he was Huayu's true master.
But one of several in actual fact. We've learned that even as Huayu served the Empire's interests, she sold Imperial secrets to a certain faction in Eorzea. In so doing, she helped to maintain the status quo, thus prolonging the conflict. Considering who stands to profit from war, it isn't hard to imagine who her other masters were.
Seven hells! You mean to say that she was a double agent?
Triple, if you consider her services to Van Belsar and the new Emperor as separate.
As neatly as these pieces seem to fit, one aspect of the puzzle remains unclear to me. By whose will was the Marshal feeding intelligence to the heretics? And try as I might, I fail to see how aiding their cause would profit either her Imperial or monetarist masters. Could it be that another hand is at work here? If so, Huayu must be made to reveal whose it is.
Not only have I lost a trusted friend, Now I must interrogate her as a stranger.
Not a pleasant task, I grant you, but a necessary one. Unless we weed out the ivy, root, stalk, and stem, it will simply grow back.
I know that full well. Those closest to Huayu have already been detained, and I will question them alongside her.
General, pray keep in mind that there may be unwitting abettors among them.
All will be treated fairly. On that you have my word. Those who are innocent have no cause to fear.
You have ever been a friend of truth, General. I hope the unpleasant task of weeding out falsehood will not detain you too long. Though it be for the sake of Eorzea, doubting one's comrades is poison to the soul. And with that, I take my leave.
All these years, I've been made to dance to their tune. How could you, Huayu? How could you side with them? Those cankers who take from this land and give naught in return, who use their power to disempower and grow fat while the people starve. I know you can hear me, monitorous scum! Your crimes will not go unpunished! One day I will purge this land of your sickness! Before the eyes of the 12, I swear it!
I shall have no further need of you this day. Your Grace. I fear that not even mine own chambers shall remain private for long.
Has the situation grown so grim?
Ever since he proposed the Cartiner Reclamation Bill, Teleji Adeleji has risen to greater prominence upon the backs of impoverished refugees. The Monitarists were ever united in their pursuit of profit, but the man's actions have torn a rift in their ranks. They snap at each other as rabid dogs. Yet now is not the time to be bickering among ourselves.
If this bickering is a threat to law and order, might you not have grounds to dissolve the Syndicate?
Would that the solution were so simple, Admiral. Alas, my moving to dissolve the Syndicate is certain to spark outrage among the influential merchant class, whom the Cabal represents. This would serve to exacerbate the current unrest, and peace would slip still further away. Be they rich or poor, natives or refugees, all who reside in Ul'dah have a right to pursue happiness. It is the duty of a ruler to protect this right. If I am to perform my duty, I must needs tread warily. It would not do to make enemies heedlessly. Were Lord Lolorito here, he would doubtless say that I have my head in the clouds.
A ruler is required to take a wide view. Try as we might to cater to all needs, some will inevitably be overlooked. As such, there shall ever be citizens who feel aggrieved. It cannot be helped. But as you have informed us, the Monitarists take no view but their own. They hunger for power while the masses starve. In the absence of a common cause, it seems beyond any one individual to make Ul'dah whole.
And the presence of a Garlean agent within the Immortal Flames only makes matters worse. Even accounting for Ul'dah's historic reliance upon mercenaries, such a grievous breach of security is unprecedented. I fear this business will provide the Monitarists with a rod to beat Rauban.
Eorzea Eorzea can ill afford for the immortal flames to be dampened now. Ere long, the Garleans will turn their ravenous gaze toward our lands once more. If we are to resist their might, our nations must stand together. Yet for this to happen, our nations must be whole. Cannot be done to improve the situation in Ul'dah.
The true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her citizens. Alas, the citizens shall never know these things, so long as their lives are ruled by the ambitions of the few. The monetarists claim to represent the best interests of the people, but in sooth they desire only to manipulate them for their own selfish ends. For the government to serve the people, it must be formed of the people. For Ul'dah to move forward, it is not only the Syndicate that must be dissolved.
Nay,
Okie
you
dokie.
jest.
See ya.
My friends,
Okie
it
dokie.
was for no other
See ya.
reason than to make known to you mine intent that I requested your presence here. When I make my declaration to the people, chaos shall inevitably ensue. As the last monarch in the line of Ul, I make unto you this request. Help Roban to preserve order and protect the people. Forsake them, and you forsake yourselves. For a strong Eorzea will ever have need of a strong Ul'dah.
Your Grace, are you certain of this?
There is no other way. When the time is ripe, the nation shall become a true republic. Both royalists and monetarists shall cease to be. Ul'dah will no longer belong to kings or queens or merchant princes, but to her people. Roban, forgive me for casting aside all that you have toiled for in my name. Beyond this gesture, I am powerless to help my subjects.
Okay. Thus is the end of that. And that's will be the end of part 37. When we return in part 38, we'll be doing another big chunk of the ARR. Another massive big chunk. Which will see us going to see the Keeper of the Lake. Regards, Orma. Until then, I'm the Big B82. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, comment, and welcome, and appreciate a thumbs up as well. And I will see you in part 38. Before the full part 1. Till then, ciao for now.